Let me ask you a question that might make you uncomfortable. If you had to put a price tag on 1 hour of your life, what would it be? Most of us would calculate our hourly wage. We'd think about our salary, business profits, or our side hustles. We live in a world that worships the hustle culture. We are told that being busy is a badge of honor. We are told that if we aren't grinding, we aren't succeeding. But in this race to build a better life for the people we love, we often commit the ultimate irony. We become so busy providing for them that we forget to actually live with them. We say we're doing it for our kids. We say we're working late so they can have the best education and a secure future. But have you ever stopped to ask what they actually want? Success has a strange way of tricking us. It makes us believe that our presence can replace our presence. We scroll through our children's lives on a smartphone screen while they are sitting in the next room. We trade bedtime stories for business emails, and we trade family dinners for Zoom calls. Statistics show that the average parent spends less than 15 minutes of truly quality time with their children per day. We are physically there, but mentally, we are miles away, calculating the next deal or worrying about tomorrow's deadline. Today's story isn't just a fable, it's a mirror. It's a reflection of the life many of us are leading without even realizing it. It's a story about a tired father, a persistent little boy, and a single $100 bill. By the time the story ends, your perspective on work and family will never be the same. You might find yourself wanting to turn off your phone, close your laptop, and go hug the people who matter most. Because at the end of the day, money can be earned back, but time is a one-way street. Let's go inside the house of a man who thought he was winning at life until his son asked him one simple question. It was 9:00 p.m. on a Tuesday. The house was quiet, but the air was heavy. The door creaked open, and Thomas stepped inside. He was a high-level executive, a man whose calendar was a battlefield of meetings. His shoulders were slumped, his tie was loose, and his eyes were bloodshot from staring at spreadsheets all day. He didn't want to talk. He just wanted to disappear into his bedroom and sleep, so he could wake up and do it all over again. But as he reached the stairs, he saw a small shadow. It was his 7-year-old son, Leo. Leo hadn't gone to bed yet. Leo looked up with wide, innocent eyes and asked, "Daddy, may I ask you a question?" Thomas sighed, checked his watch, and snapped, "What is it now, Leo?" "I'm exhausted, Daddy." "How much do you make in an hour?" the boy asked softly. Thomas felt a flash of anger. "That's none of your business. Why would you ask such a thing?" he barked. But Leo persisted. "Please, Daddy, I just want to know. How much do you make in 1 hour?" Finally, Thomas said, "If you must know, make $100 an hour. Now, go to bed." The little boy bowed his head. Then, he looked back up. "Daddy, may I please borrow 50? The father exploded. "So that's why you asked? You want to buy some silly toy? You are being selfish. I work hard every day for this family, and you stay up late just to ask me for money? Go to your room." Leo didn't cry. He just quietly turned around, walked to his room, and closed the door. Thomas sat down in the living room, fuming. But as the silence settled in, his anger began to fade. He started to think, maybe Leo really needed something. He realized he had been too harsh. Thomas stood up, walked slowly toward Leo's room, and knocked on the door. "Are you asleep, son?" "No, Dad, I'm awake," a small voice replied. "I was too hard on you. It's been a long day. Here's the $50 you asked for, Thomas said. Leo's face lit up. Oh, thank you, Daddy, he whispered. He reached under his pillow and pulled out a handful of crumpled, dirty bills. Thomas felt his stomach drop. He saw that the boy already had money, a lot of it. The anger he had just managed to calm started to flare up again. Wait a minute, Thomas snapped. If you already had money, why did you ask for more? But Leo wasn't looking at the anger in his father's eyes. He was busy. With trembling hands, he started counting his money. He smoothed out the wrinkled singles, the fives, and the tens. He was focused, as if he were counting the most precious treasure on earth. Finally, Leo looked up at his father. He held out the $50 his father had just given him, combined with the bills he had saved. Because I didn't have enough, Daddy, he said softly. But now I do. Thomas stood frozen. He watched as his son held out a messy pile of cash money from birthdays, chores, and couch cushions. Dad, Leo said, his voice small but steady. I have $100 now. Can I buy 1 hour of your time? Please? Just 1 hour. I want you to come home early tomorrow. I want to have dinner with you. The silence was deafening. Thomas felt like he had been struck in the chest. He looked at the $100, the exact amount he earned in an hour at work. To his company, it was a line on a spreadsheet, but to his son, it was months of saving and the price for a father's love. Thomas didn't say a word. He simply sat down on the bed and pulled his son into a tight embrace. He realized that he had been working so hard to give his son the world, but he had forgotten that for Leo, he was the world. Stop the story for a second. Let's talk about the 100 trap. Why do we do this? In a corporation, you are replaceable. If Thomas quit tomorrow, his desk would be filled by Monday. But in that room, Thomas is irreplaceable. We give the leftovers, the exhaustion, and silence to the people who would give anything for a minute of our attention. Let's get real for a second. If you died tomorrow, your company would have your job posting on LinkedIn before your funeral was over. Your boss would be looking for your replacement while your family is still picking out your flowers. We kill ourselves for organizations that view us as human capital, but we neglect the people who view us as everything. The tragedy of Thomas in our story isn't that he worked hard. Hard work is a virtue. The tragedy is that he was physically present, but emotionally absent. He was in the house, but his mind was in a boardroom. He was looking at his son, but he was seeing his calendar. Bronnie Ware, a palliative care nurse who spent years with patients in the last 12 weeks of their lives, recorded their most common regrets. Do you know what the number 2 regret was? I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Not one person said, I wish I had stayed for that 7:00 p.m. meeting. Not one person said, I wish I had replied to those extra 50 emails. They all wish they had been there for the first steps, the graduations, the simple Tuesday night dinners. We tell ourselves, I'll spend time with them when I get the promotion, or I'll be there once the kids are older. But life doesn't happen later. Life is happening in the $100 hours you are selling right now. So, how do we fix this? How do we stop being like Thomas? Here are 3 things you can start doing today. 1. The phone-free zone. Designate the first hour you get home as a sacred hour. Put your phone in a drawer. Give your family your 100% focused attention. If you can't give them 5 hours, give them 1 undistracted hour. It's worth more than an entire weekend of being distracted. 2. Schedule your family like a client. You wouldn't miss a meeting with the CEO, right? Why is a date night or a bedtime story optional? Put it in your calendar. Treat your time with your loved ones as a non-negotiable appointment. 3. Define enough. The hustle never ends because more has no limit. Ask yourself, how much money is enough? If you don't define enough, you will spend your entire life chasing a shadow while the people you love grow up and grow old without you. Thomas didn't take the $100 from his son that night. Instead, he took the lesson. He realized that his son wasn't asking for money, he was asking for a father. Don't wait until your children have to save up their allowance to buy a moment of your time. Don't wait until your partner stops asking you how your day was, because they know you're too busy to answer. The glass of water is getting heavy. Put it down. The 1,000 marbles are running out. Make this one count. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who is working a little too hard today. Subscribe to the Meaningful Minute for your daily dose of wisdom. And now, turn off this video, put down your phone, and go spend time with someone you love. I'll see you tomorrow.